Community of Somkhele in Kwazulu-Natal says it won't give up the fight against open-pit mining as it destroys their health and livelihoods. This is after their leader, Fikile Ntshangase, was gunned down in her home of Opondweni on Monday. Community members believe it was an assassination as she was a powerful voice in opposing the expansion of mining by the Tendele coal mine. Let's chat now with Professor Mary de Haas of the University of KZN. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor. Now, we always hear about people being offered or rather, your report says that people were offered thousands of rand to accept mining in Somkhele, and that your research also shows that they've also been told to sell their property, and if they don't sell their property to the mines, then they are intimidated. Is there any truth to what your report is suggesting there?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there are lawyers involved in this case. There are two cases before the Supreme High Courts at the moment, and this information comes from first-hand accounts. You see, the lady who was killed, assassinated, she was assassinated because she had been threatened with death, and the other community members have been threatened with death in recent months. And the campaign has kind of stepped up towards the first court hearing at the beginning of November, and so she was a vice chairperson of one of the subcommittees. You see, the mine is already operating in many areas around there, and they want to expand. In fact, they haven't yet, allegedly, according to the lawyers, what they're doing is illegal because they haven't gone through due processes. And these people are subsistence farmers in areas where the mining is taking place. There are serious health issues. People have lost their land, and don't forget that the priority at the moment is that people feed themselves. And these are subsistence farmers. They have land. What's happening is that they have been offered, allegedly they've been offered 200,000 or 300,000 rand to sell their properties. Now, that doesn't go very far if you've lost the land that you can keep livestock on and grow food on. So that's why they're holding out. And I think this, Ntshangase was a very powerful voice who said, look, you know, whatever they do, I'm putting the interests of the community first. And the organization of which she's a part, the Umfolozi Community Environmental Justice Organization, which is one of the applicants in these court cases, it represents thousands of subsistence farmers, some of their members have already lost their land as a result. It's also on the border of the Umfolozi wilderness area, so there are serious environmental concerns there as well. So they're fighting a battle, and I think what the worst part of this is the way mining companies operate. They offer incentives, and for poor people, 200,000 or 300,000 rand is a lot of money. They don't realize that, if they accept it, they're sitting in a house somewhere, and they've got to buy their food, and they've got to pay other costs. So the worst part of this is that the traditional authorities are allegedly involved, because some of the people who've been named as intimidating people are Headman and Izinduna. And the most disgraceful part of all is that the government seems to be taking the part
yes,
of
Professor,
government.
We'll come to that part.
Okay.
I also wanted to just, KZN is one of those provinces, actually it's the main province that is known in South Africa for assassinations. There was a commission of inquiry into political killings, the Moerane Commission of Inquiry. Recommendations were made, but it's not, the government is not forced to implement those recommendations. So are these commissions actually helpful, or do they just put the lives of witnesses in more danger?
Oh, I don't think they really helped. The Moerane Commission, we could talk about those findings another time. They didn't tell us anything we didn't know already, and they glossed over some of the worst of it, which is the failure of IPID to deal with the police corruption. But that was specifically focusing on political killings. But please bear in mind that the people who do these killings will do political killings. And you talk about the risk to lives, of course. Thabiso Zulu risked his life by going to the Moerane Commission. Okay, so the thing is that these hit people, hitmen, because they're invariably hitmen, it seems, will work for political, they'll work for private interests, they'll work for business interests. They're basically hitmen. They're linked to the taxi industry, usually, and they will kill. The probability is that they were used to kill Mama Nchungazi, because that's the way the whole system operates.
Now let's go back to what community members have told you about their interaction with government. We've seen a lot of times there's been also inquiries at the Human Rights Commission about government, basically telling people that they need to listen and listen to the mine companies and basically get into the mining. What are the mining? What are the community in that area of Somkhele telling you about their interaction with government and those people who want to mine there?
Okay, well, this is what happened a few months ago now. At the beginning of this year, in this Upundweni area, in which farmers are supposed to move, are supposed to sell, and they are refusing to, there was severe threat and intimidation. There was an attack on another lady in the area, Mrs. Mtetwa. There was another attack, all on people who are opposing the mining, after threats. Okay, that was early this year. I must say the police were cooperative and put patrols in the area. The station commissioner has been most helpful, that's Kwamsane. But the area is big and it's bushy and it's dark. And as, you can have a police patrol in the area, and then people, when the people that are waiting to attack will just melt away into the shadows. So, okay, so after all this, in the middle of the year, somebody rocks up from the Department of Community Safety and Liaison, I've got her name, and tries to persuade community members to meet, to have a meeting and listen to the mine, and actually making the situation more volatile, because people are now resentful because they see she's taking the part that the government, the Department of Security, Policing, Community Liaison, is actually perceived to be taking the part of the mine. Okay, so I didn't write a letter to the government about it and say, just back off. You're making matters worse. So then, more recently, this representatives of this bigger organization, as I said, it represents thousands of subsistence farmers. They think, well, we better tell Ngonyama about it. That's King Goodwill Zwelithini. They go off and they kind of with it to his office, and they tell their story. And the next minute, they've got, allegedly, they tell me, and it's true, that they've got people from the Department of Cooperation and Development coming to them and saying, won't you just kind of negotiate, liaise, listen to what they're offering you. Now, I mean, that's not the role of government.
Yes.
The government is actually making matters worse. And this is the government that is talking about land restitution. Now, leaving aside the complete corruption in land settlement claims, they're now
All right, Professor, I'm so sorry. We've unfortunately run out of time, but this is definitely one of those topics that could take a long time. Thank you very much. That was Professor Mary de Haas of the University of KZN.